And welcome everyone to another episode of One by One and this special series Connecting the Dots with Riane Eisler and her special guests. Recorded live at Hubcast Campus Studios in Vancouver. My name is Michael Kraus. And as the host, I'm truly honored to support Riane Eisler and her many initiatives on partnership culture and consciousness, inviting us into this discussion that celebrates her legacy as global changemaker, especially in the context of so many upcoming activities that involve Riane and the evolutionary leaders community. Riane Eisler, scholar, systems scientist, and best-selling author of The Chalice and the Blade, the real wealth of nations and nurturing our humanity. Riane has reshaped our understanding of history, economics, and power, introducing a transformational framework, the partnership system versus the domination system. Her work has been translated into over 30 languages, featured in classrooms and global forums alike, and has inspired movements for peace, gender equity, and social healing across the world. So welcome to the program, Riane Eisler. I'm so honored to see you and listen to your wisdom again and be in the beauty of your presence. And I'm curious to learn if you could share with our audience the intention and the vision of your upcoming Peace Begins at Home Summit in October, as well as your connection to our special guests today, um, Rose Emanuel Kuntzelman.
Well, thank you so much, Michael. And again, it's a pleasure to be with you, not only to introduce our very special guests today, but to tell you a little bit about the upcoming summit called Peace Begins at Home. And if we really think about it, uh, so does violence, doesn't it? Begin at home, because violence in families normalizes violence. And we know from neuroscience that what children experience or observe, especially in their early years, affects nothing less than how our brains develop. That's right. And hence how we feel, how we think, how we act, how we vote. So this is connecting the dots is no longer something for just, quote, intellectuals to do. It's something that everyone needs to do because we need to understand, well, the obvious, isn't it? If we really think about it, how violence becomes normalized and how that normalization then affects social violence, warfare, terrorism. And we have speakers from 17 nations speaking at this virtual summit. You're all invited to register. We have people, well, like Ella Gandhi, who is, of course, the granddaughter of Kasturba and Mahatma Gandhi. And I mentioned Kasturba because, they had a partnership, to use the framing that I'm well known for, partnership and, the partnership domination social scale. And yet we don't know much about her. And I was recently in a film about her, which is a good sign, isn't it?
Yeah.
But let me also uh, really introduce just a little bit our two wonderful guests, Emanuel Kuntzelman and Laura Rose. They are so connected with the theme that we're all working on, the theme that is at the core of partnership, really, not in group versus out group thinking, but our interconnection. And they are philanthropists with many projects which they'll tell you about. Um, and they really have in common with me and with the work that I've been doing for what is it now, about, my God, since 86, when, well, and even before then, about 50 years, um, that they emphasize the positive, that there is a partnership alternative, that we have to change our stories and our language, because we need the new social category of partnership and domination, which really, uh, really transcends all of our conventional categories. And yes, they involve uh, gender, which is one of the focal points, especially for Laura, and for which I am very grateful, because, but also because gender is so central to domination as well as partnership systems. We must never mistake difference for sameness, and quite the contrary. Partnership systems are about valuing difference. That's right. Whereas domination systems are about dismissing difference as either inferior or superior, right? So, well, I won't go on. I just want to tell you that these are two wonderful leaders of the global movement, really, to understand what human nature is really about, what living in this world is really about, which is interconnection.
Wow, thank you. And I'm deeply grateful for your initiatives and specifically hosting the Peace Begins at Home Summit in October. And I'm also super excited to have that conversation with Emanuel Kuntzelman and Laura Rose now coming up. And many, many blessings to you, Riane Eisler. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Did we make it official?
Today we come together with a new vision for humanity, to co-create a united Earth family. And with this vision and our shared intuition, we have the potential to bring peace on Earth to fruition. We imagine a world where we take care of all of life, and with this intention we become beacons of light. So let's join together in manifestation to bring about societal transformation. From the heart of humanity, we come together in unity to co-create a united Earth family. From the heart of humanity, we come together in unity to co-create a united Earth family. From the heart of humanity, we come together to co-create. Let's come together, family. From the heart of humanity, we come together to co-create. Let's come together, family.
And now let me welcome Emanuel Kuntzelman and Laura Rose, two extraordinary souls, global visionaries, and change makers to the program. Emanuel Kuntzelman is an entrepreneur, writer, philosopher, philanthropist, and activist for social transformation. He began his adult life by traveling the world on a decade-long quest for his spiritual purpose before beginning his professional career as an editor-writer for Reader's Digest, where he authored dozens of articles for international editions. Upon discovering his right livelihood in the realm of cultural exchange, he founded and managed numerous exchange organizations in Spain, the US, and the UK. Having created Greenheart International in 1985, he still serves as chief advisor to the organization. He is also the co-founder of Fundación por el Futuro in Madrid, Spain, and has been its president since 1995. His work in spiritual movements includes being a founding co-creator of the Global Purpose Movement and Purpose Earth, as well as his collaboration as a member of the Evolutionary Leaders Circle. Emanuel is a board member and or advisor to Greenheart Humanities Team Unity Earth Integral Transformative Practice International and the Laszlo Institute for New Paradigm Research. He's co-editor of the anthology Purpose Rising 2017 and has contributed articles to a wide variety of publications. His vision of the Holo movement is a project he has been working on for over 50 years. Laura Rose is a passionate youth empowerment specialist who has dedicated her life to the development and support of youth in leadership through her work in cultural exchange, purpose work, mentoring, public speaking, and philanthropy. She is co-founder and former CEO of Greenheart International, which has facilitated the cultural exchange experiences of 200,000 participants from more than 100 countries since its inception. She also co-founder of Purpose Earth, dedicated to activating and mentoring worldwide grassroots projects that provide creative solutions to community challenges. Her most recent passion is serving as co-creator of the Holo movement, dedicated to aligning purpose and unifying values to serve the grassroots movement and the greatest good. An experienced public speaker, she has facilitated public speaking workshops for youth, done podcasts, and been a panelist and keynote speaker in numerous forums around the globe. For more than 20 years, she worked with members of the U.S. Department of State, community leaders, and international representatives to further the cause of public diplomacy and mutual understanding, serving as a liaison between the private and public sectors. Laura was recently invited to become a board member of Choose Love Movement, nurturing safer and more loving communities, schools, and prisons, and is also honored to be a member of the Evolutionary Leaders. Highly dedicated to her work with She is the Universe, a girls' empowerment platform giving voice to young women around the globe, Laura has served as the chair of the board of directors since 2020. And I am so honored to have both of you with us here today. What an incredible dedication towards humanity, whole system change, and your many accomplishments. And I'm deeply grateful to be sharing this time with you today.
Thank you, Michael. It's a pleasure to meet you, and so honored to be invited to meet and chat today. Thank you so much for your beautiful introduction.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So maybe let me start with you, Laura. I would love for you to share with our audience about your journey and perhaps in particular, what was that pivotal moment or insight that you had in your life when you decided to dedicate your life to the service of others and whole system change?
That's a beautiful question. And I'll try to keep it short. I think there really are two things that I'll mention briefly. One is something that happened to me when I was very young, probably 10, 12 years old. And I don't think I realized the impact of it until later. but I knew that it was very important. I had a dream that I lived in a beautiful cottage and was very happy there and surrounded by nature and birds, trees, serenity. And I heard a very loud, resounding knock on the door. And I was fearful about opening the door, but decided that I had to. And there was a spirit being there who said, "Come with me." And I got behind it on the equivalent of an invisible magic carpet. And we took off into the air, and this cottage became smaller and smaller. And the trees and the forest that we flew over were exquisitely beautiful. But the scenery began to change, and we were suddenly flying over scenes of tremendous devastation, which I later learned were probably from World War II Germany. And I began to cry. And the spirit being said, "You will have a choice in your life. You can choose to stay in your beautiful cottage, or you can choose to make a difference." And I remember waking up that morning and thinking, I'm promising myself now I will never forget that dream as long as I live.
Wow,
So
beautiful.
that's enough for one
That
response.
almost sounds like the Hopi prophecy coming to you at an early age in a different form through a magic carpet. That we have a choice right now in this lifetime, and there are two ways of going about it. And how about you, Emmanuel? What was this pivotal moment of, perhaps someone might want to call it awakening? What was that pivotal moment for you when you decided that to step into your true purpose?
Well, thank you, Michael, and certainly a very interesting question. I would say for myself, some kind of calling came to me at a very early age. I think when I was 6 years old, I had a very huge epiphany. I came home from school one day, first grade class, and the teacher told us that there were now 3 billion people on planet Earth, and she wrote the number on the board. And I walked home, and there's an apple tree in front of our home. I climbed up in the tree. It was early spring. The tree was in full bloom. It was a beautiful day. I had a little perch up in the tree that I liked to hang out in, and I was lying there in the perch of the apple tree, staring up through the blossoms and the scintillating sun and azure sky, thinking about 3 billion people, and then thinking about the unity of that, yet the importance of each individual, and how the universe must have gone to a lot of trouble to evolve into a moment where each one of us individuals were differentiated from that awesome whole. And if it went to that much trouble, then it was easy to assume that we all had a very high mission in life to make the most out of that incredible opportunity. So my life was never the same after that, but I did my best to cope with society and figure out what that meant. And then that vision was totally catalyzed my first day in college. And the first class I took, I was in a sociology seminar, and the professor was Dr. Jeffrey K. Haddon at Tulane University. And he gave us a talk on the exponential change facing our generation. This was in 1970, but what he showed was the typical exponential graph of change coming over time, the exponential growth in population, in environmental deterioration, in technological development, and in many other areas, the buildup of armaments. And he showed that this exponential change was taking a rise straight up on a graph over time in their quantities, and that we were literally running out of time. Now, this was 2 years before the Limits of Growth was published, years before we've seen graphs of this time. It was a very revolutionary moment. And Dr. Haddon said, I present this to you, this generation, because this is the world with its issues that you are here to resolve. So you need to write a paper for this course to describe what you would do in your individual way to cope with this, the most monumental change coming in all of human history. I was very inspired by that talk. I went out, I sat under another tree. I always like trees for inspiration, and basically said, I dedicate my life to finding or contributing to a solution to resolve the crisis of our times. I am in service to the whole, and from this point forward, that is the whole purpose of my life. And really, since that day, I've been doing what I can in the small ways that I can to contribute to a better, brighter, more unified world in the future to come.
And thank you, Emmanuel, and thank you for everything that you do and your support that you show in so many different initiatives around the planet. And specifically also thank you for really, truly listening to Dr. Haddon when he shared this first class with you and allowed it for you to be absorbed into your soul, into your purpose, into your life, and from there taking concrete and measurable actions. And the world wouldn't be what it is right now without you and your initiatives and your work. So thank you again for that. And I'm curious to learn, what are you working on right now, and how do you feel we can deepen our understanding of the need to pursue more transformative social action, personal development, and conscious evolution, knowing that perhaps we are at a point in time where we are running out of time. How can we accelerate an understanding of collaboration and cooperation around the planet? And curious to hear what you have to share with us.
Thank you. Yes, the main project I'm working on right now is the Holo movement. And I should explain a little background of that. When I wrote the paper for Dr. Haddon, it was a sociology class, and I described a situation in the world as I perceived it at that time, that there were many organizations, movements, ideas around the world addressing this, but none of them were really sharing resources or combining together. And so I described the situation as a wheel, and that all these various movements, organizations, thought systems were the spokes. But what was required was a hub to hold the spokes together, to make the wheel move, and create an atmosphere of collaboration, resource sharing, idea sharing, and a movement of movements of this wheel of creation, as it were. Dr. Haddon liked the description, but I didn't have a name for it at that time. So part of my own spiritual search over decades was to find the name, the context, the philosophy behind it, all of these important aspects. At one point in my life, I was inspired very much by another one of my mentors. His name was David Tiedemann. He'd been a professor of mathematics for over 25 years at Harvard, and then he went into vocational training and developed what he called the Life Career Foundation. He was one of the prominent, foremost leaders in career vocational training and the idea that we all have a calling and a purpose in life. I met him in 1984. I thought I was kind of a wandering hippie with an overdose of wanderlust and couldn't quite figure out what my path was in my life. When I described it to him, he said, "That's wonderful. You're on the right path. Just stay on it." and you'll find the way. So I was very inspired to see that someone actually maybe understood what I was doing or not doing, as the case may be. But Mr. Tiedemann then also said, so tell me, what do you know about quantum physics? And I said, well, actually nothing. And he said, well, the first thing we have to do is give you an education in quantum physics. And he took the trouble of sending a box full of books directly to my doorstep and said, read these books, and then we'll talk again. And amongst those books was a book called Wholeness in the Implicate Order by American physicist David Bohm. And I read that book, and Bohm described the universe as undivided wholeness, oneness in everything, which I loved. But then he went on to describe that the world, also the cosmos, has an implicate order, which is the part we can't see, we can't measure, and we certainly can't understand, but that's the most important part of all. And then it has an explicate order, the measurable part of physical reality that we live in. He said, that sounds like a very dualistic world concept, but all is one, and don't forget it. And so there is something that connects the implicate with the explicate and makes it whole, and that is the holo movement. And when I read that, I had a total aha moment, and I thought, that's the name of this wheel of collaboration. It is called the holo movement. Well, that was 1984. I've been working on it ever since. I guess I'm kind of a slow starter, but I guess persistence maybe perhaps is more important than anything. So let's fast forward about another 30 years or so ago, and I began implementing this concept of the holo movement. And the holo movement, in Bohm's tradition and his philosophy, aspires to accessing the implicate order in order to gain the information and the coding that the universe needs and put it into action in the explicate order. So we've begun this project. I've been working on it since 1970, but it's got a name, a purpose, and a path forward over the last 4 or 5 years. It's a movement of movements. It's not an entity. It's no corporation. It's not any official business or anything else. So we're doing the best we can to form the spokes, the partnerships, to make the wheel run and flow forward with a collaborative and better world, we hope. And so that's kind of my vision, what I'm doing, and dedicating my life now to helping the holo movement grow and bring us into a more unified, sharing, compassionate sense of consciousness that is the destiny of human civilization. And the time is now to make that happen.
Beautiful. And before I go to Laura, I want to ask you another question, Emmanuel. And I don't think you're a slow starter. I think you're an extraordinary visionary. And while there is perhaps a physical construct to our interconnectedness, there is also our lived human experience. And what I've been experiencing specifically over the last 3 to 4 to 5 months is an extraordinary movement towards collaboration and cooperation within the field that I see and the field that I'm present in. And where organizations that previously kind of had a little bit of an attitude, what's mine is mine and what's yours is a little bit of mine, are now starting to come together to really truly with a deep understanding that the only way for us to perhaps move into a new humanity is through radical collaboration. And so my question to you is that your lived experience too? Like, do you see and I'm almost talking about a palatable field of energy that is emerging within all layers of organizations and perhaps society and families and communities. Is that true for you?
It certainly is, and thank you for saying that, Michael, and for asking. We are in an extraordinary time, and people are coming together and reacting more than ever before. So maybe that's why I got off to a slow start. There's a time and a place for everything, and this is the time and this is the place. So we'll leave it at that. No better time than right now, and heaven knows the planet, the people, and the universe need it. So it's happening before our very eyes, and it's uplifting. It's a high frequency movement, and as people come together and join in with more people in a high frequency state, it elevates everyone. The tide lifts all boats. We float together upwards and ascending into the state of consciousness that was our birthright from the beginning and the destiny of our purpose here on earth. So yes, time is now. It's happening before our very eyes. We're all part of it. And isn't that glorious?
And Laura, I know that you are the other part of the Holo movement, or as co-creator of the Holo movement, and maybe you can expand a little bit about what particularly your role or your vision is within the Holo movement, and perhaps what is needed for more of us to come together and to expand that and really fulfill the mission and the purpose and the vision of the whole movement, and coming from both of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Emmanuel put it so beautifully. He's always articulated all of the things that I've inherently known and understood. And I think I would say that he was my first mentor. I fell in love with him over a discussion about quantum physics at the pyramids of Teotihuacan over 30 years ago. And it just lit a spark in me that I've never lost. And the Holo movement is, for me, and I believe for our team, it's about creating the community that is needed, that forms an elevated sense of self, an elevated sense of understanding of who we are, and that we are stronger as individuals when we dedicate ourselves to the focus on others. And this is something that started with me very young. I was bused to inner city schools, and I realized that there was so much inequity, so much inequality when it came to the way that people in a city like Denver were living just a few miles apart from one another, but with such different access to resources and to all of the things that so many of us take for granted. And now we have the opportunity through technology and through our ability to reach out on so many different levels to help. Over 60% of Americans are desperately lonely, which is an absolutely devastating figure to me. And the number is especially high with youth. And one of the things that we're really focusing on is creating the sense of community that provides people an opportunity to recognize that the most deep and authentic self and sense of self that we can have is when we recognize our ability to make a difference in others. And it's something that is putting love into action. It's about saying, I don't have to worry so much about myself when I turn my focus to the other and recognize that the me and the you that becomes the we. And when we cooperate together, we have an opportunity to make enormous shifts. So what we're doing at the Holo movement is creating what we refer to as holons, which is groups of 3 or more people who adopt a project that is expanding into their communities, that's making a difference. A lot of this is the ripple effect from what we've been doing with Purpose Earth for many years, providing opportunities for people to identify the challenges that are greatest in their communities, and then to be provided with the opportunity to correct them. And that's something that I think we can explore and expand on more deeply all the time. But we're doing it through music, we're doing it through prayer, we're doing it through meditation, we're doing it through the community lounges, and it's expanding exponentially.
Wow. And you were talking about the me and the you and the we, and what I see between the two of you is just an extraordinary, beautiful, dedicated couple that complements each other in your mission and vision. And I'm kind of in awe right now to really feel into the beauty of both of your beings, and to really answer the call of the times right now. And Laura, can I ask, from based on your life experience and the wisdom and the knowledge that you hold within your physical human body, what do you think is the single most important advice or that you can share, or actions that people can take that is going to be able to create the greatest impact? What is really needed right now, and what are some of the practical and simple and steps that are really necessary right now?
To us and to me, I think the most important thing is a sense of purpose. There's so many people who lack purpose, and tragically, when we talk about purpose, so often what we're focusing on is achieving another degree, or having an important role in a business, or making a lot of money. But what purpose really is about is discovering our soul's calling, discovering, as my beautiful friend Laura Pena says, what is it that makes me cry? What is it that makes my heart sing? What is it that awakens me? And one of the things that we're focusing on at Holo Movement is called Holo Movement Purpose Lab, in partnership with Zenka Karov, with LightNet. And it is a beautiful project because it's helping people to awaken to their individual, unique spark of beauty and of soul calling, and helping people to recognize that, as as Mother Teresa said many years ago, we're not all born to do great things, but we're all here to do great things with love. And though that's what's important, that even the smallest of things we do with great love, and that we express ourselves through the joyousness of connection, and recognizing that we're greater through the sum of our parts. And it's something that I see at the WAVE events that we organize annually now, that there is a sense of connection and of feeling of belonging that occurs when you bring people together and honor and recognize and sing their the most joyous song together.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I think we're going to start to come to an end, and I was wondering, is there anything else you would like to share with our audience today? And I would love to dive deeper into your work, into your beings, into your purpose in a future episode, if you want to come back. And but for today, is there anything that you would like to share in addition to what you have said previously, Laura and Emmanuel?
Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Well, thank you, first and foremost, Michael, for the opportunity to chat here today, and for your service and everything you're doing. You know, the late great friend of mine, Terry Patton, who was instrumental in helping develop the core principles of the Holo movement and working with me over several years, long before we launched it, he once said, things are getting far too serious to lose our sense of humor now. So I would quote Terry and say, yeah, it's maybe a bit of a mess out there, but we need to keep it fun. We need to keep it light. We need to find the light in ourselves, that transmutation of personal consciousness, whatever we can do to be in service to the whole. Our purpose is a life of service. We need to find how we can serve best, where we fit in, and how we can help make this greatest transformation in the history of humankind possible, imminent, and successful. So we need to keep that lightness, a sense of fun. If we're not having fun and enjoying it in the long run, it's probably not going to work. So
Yeah.
don't worry, be happy, be in service, and we'll see you there.
And
Maybe I'll just add to that beautiful comment. I think it's finding the joy in life, but it's also seeing the magic in everyday occurrences. In fact, we're starting a program with Holo Movement called Everyday Magic, and just to recognize that when we open ourselves to the universe, when we open ourselves to the fact that we're not alone, that we're guided, and we've got the wind at our backs, we've got the support of the cosmos, and we're deeply loved. And when we open our eyes to the signposts that are given to us every day, and the more that we become open to them, the more we see and recognize how supported, how held, how loved we are, and how much we are a part of a beautiful symphony of being that includes all of life on this beautiful planet.
wow, and that is seeing the love is exactly what I see radiating from both of your souls. And so I feel that this, the way you speak about it, the way you hold it, the way you express it, and the way you radiate out is extremely, extremely beautiful. And I feel that we have every given moment is an opportunity for us to feel and see the love and to take kind actions towards a more compassionate and kind world. And it starts within each and one of us. And from there, if we can affect our families, our communities, and then we can spread that feeling and that vision and that understanding across the planet. And I think that's really why we're all here in this day and age, on this journey, on this ball traveling through space. And so it was a great honor and privilege to hear your wisdom and be able to hear your path and the contributions that you've made, and to really be able to feel the beauty within your souls and your dedication towards humanity and other people, and for having found your purpose. And what a beautiful couple, what a beautiful purpose, and I wish you nothing but the best and many, many blessings to you, Laura and Emmanuel. And I hope that one day we're going to be able to connect in person and actually and feel the energy that is right now so needed across the planet. And so thank you for being here. And I also want to thank our audience for tuning into this episode of One by One, and this special series Connecting the Dots with Riane Eisler and today's guest, Laura Rose and Emanuel Kuntzelman. And until next time, be kind to one another and take care of one another.